Omji for inviting me over here. Okay, it's a privilege for me to be over here. So, and also thank you for Amit for introducing a little bit about me. So, I will introduce myself. So, hi everyone. Hi, this is Abhishek. I am recently promoted as a MuleSoft ambassador in 2022, working as an associate solution architect at Epicero. I have 6+ years of total IT experience and 4+ years in MuleSoft. I am certified MuleSoft developer and architect, and I am a meetup leader for Guwahati and Lucknow group. So that's all about me. And I want to thank you all for attending the meetup today on a weekend. Although it's a festival day for us in India, still people are joining. So we are very much uh, thankful to you all for attending our meetup today. So let me read out the safe harbor statement. So both the speaker and the host are organizing this meetup in individual capacity only. We are not representing our companies here. This presentation is strictly for learning purpose only. Organizer or presenter do not hold any responsibility that same solution will work for your business requirement. And this presentation is not meant for any promotional activities. Let me read out some housekeeping. So the recording of the meetup will be uploaded in the meetup page within 24 hours. You can go to the meetup page and you can find the recordings over there. You can find the previous recordings and you can know like what are the upcoming meetups. Then we have given mic access to all of you. Also, there is an option of chat where you can put your questions. You can unmute and you can ask your questions. Maybe I can ask you some questions and we'll make it more interactive. Like let us not make it speaker dominant. Let us make it in both way. And at last, which is the important, my favorite one. So please give the feedback to us. So once the meetup is over, within 1 hour, you will get a feedback form. So please fill up that form because that is very much important for both the organizer and speaker to improve ourselves. So you can give your ideas, you can give your suggestion, you can give your feedbacks like how we can improve ourselves or what new topics you want us to bring in front of you in the next meetups. So we will look into that and we'll try our best to match up your suggestions and requirements. So that's all about the introduction and housekeeping stuffs. So let us now start our meetup. So agenda for our meetup is like we are going to discuss about Anypoint MQ. In that we are going to discuss about what are the different queue types, what are the connectors provided by MuleSoft, then how we configure Anypoint MQ with like how we configure it with our applications, what are the different error types we can get. Then we'll discuss about circuit breaker, and at last we'll discuss about DLQ. So moving up to the next slide, I would like to ask you or like any one of you or anyone can unmute and either they can put in the chat. So what they understand by Anypoint MQ, what is their idea? Like what is Anypoint MQ? So can I have it from the audience, like what they understand about Anypoint MQ, please? Anyone, please. Guys, you can unmute.
Hi, this is Shubham this side. I guess
Yes, Shubham.
Anypoint MQ is kind of a messaging tool,
Mm-hmm.
messaging connector
Mm-hmm.
for like processing messages from connector to queues.
Okay,
This is what I know so far about this.
fine. Anyone else?
Yeah, hi, this is Santosh.
Here, Shantosh. Yeah.
Yeah, so Anypoint MQ, we use it for communicating with other APIs asynchronously. We publish messages in the queue, and then that the receiver and the other API will subscribe to it, and we will get the message and process it. So with or without acknowledgement, like we can use this for asynchronous communication.
Correct. Anyone else wanna try what they are understanding about Anypoint MQ? Okay. So as we got some answers, so they're right. Like it is mostly a messaging tool, we can say. Okay, a messaging queue, which is asynchronous, where we can keep our messages for some time and then we can process it to our applications. It is a pub/sub type of model. Okay, uh, which is easily managed by Endpoint platform. It support a large payload like of maximum 10 MB. Okay, it provide you that letter queue feasibility, which I will explain you what is that letter queue and how it is used. Okay, it provide you statistics, so you can see like how many messages you have in the queue, how many messages are processing. Okay, you can see all this thing in a queue in an Endpoint MQ. Just one point with Anypoint MQ is that it is not available in trial account. It is a licensed product, so you will get it in the enterprise subscription only. Okay, so you cannot get it for free. Okay, so this is what like Anypoint MQ is. It is a messaging tool, we can say, where we can keep our message and we can process. Okay, that's what I thought Anypoint MQ. So I will show you with the demo like how we configure all these things. So what are the different type of queues we get is we get exchange, we get FIFO, and we get a standard queue. So can anyone tell me what they understand by exchange? What is exchange and what is like FIFO or standard queue? Any idea on that?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, please. Who's
Yeah,
this? Can you?
I think this is Santosh.
Santosh,
Yeah, so a queue is used. It's a basic queue means it's a basic functionality. We use it to send and receive messages. And exchange is like we tag queues to exchange. It's like broadcasting to many queues at a single time.
Mhm. Correct.
And FIFA queue is like it has a order like first message which gets in will be the first one to process. It follows the order of the messages it is being sent, whereas
Okay.
the queue doesn't follow an order.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
So mostly exchange is like one to many type of connection. So in exchange we can bind our standard queues. Okay, we can bind 2 to 3 standard queues or more than that. And now if we are sending a message into an exchange, the same message can route to different queues what we have bind over there. So like if you know about scatter gather in our endpoint platform, in our in our endpoint studio, we have a scope called scatter gather, where parallelly we can send data to different flows. So exchange is something like that, where at the same time we can broadcast or we can send message to different queues, so that if my subscriber or my queue is connected to different flows, all that flow will get the data parallelly at the same time. The same data will goes to that. Okay, so this is what it do. Next come the connector types. So like there are several options what Anypoint MQ gives us as a connector, where we have got ACK, we have consume, we have NAC, we have publish, and we have subscriber. Okay, so your subscriber is the listener. It is the source of your flow. It is an event source. Okay, publish, we put it basically at the end so that we can publish some message in the queue. We can store some message in the queue so that we can retrieve it from the queue later on whenever we are required it. Consume is similar to subscriber, but it's not a source. It is not your listener part. It is something like on demand we need to do. Like if we are using a suppose scheduler, and we are running the scheduler so that at particular time I need to fetch some data from the consumer, I can do that. Or if I have a subflow and my parent flow is calling my subflow, and I want that when my parent flow call the subflow, at that time only I should retrieve some message from the queue, I can you do that using the consumer. Okay, ACNAC. ACNAC is like ACK is for acknowledgement, positive acknowledgement, to say whether the message has been consumed successfully or not. And NAC is to give negative acknowledgement, saying that if there is any error or something, so it will send a message to the parent queue, the queue which we have subscribed, that the message is not processed and we need to keep it again in the queue so that we can process it later. Okay, so this is are the different connector types. Then how you do the configurations, this is how the things which you required a URL and API ID and secret, and I will show you from where we'll get it and how we'll configure it. Then these are some of the error types which I got it from the connectors itself. So these are few of them which I'm discussing. We can have more, we can have less, but this is something which I'm discussing which I got from the connectors. And then we'll discuss about circuit breaker. So yeah, anyone any question?
Yeah, Abhi, one question is there from Tanmay. Can we add both Q and FIFO Q to the same exchange?
I will show you that. That I will show you actually, that I have kept for a demo part. Okay, I will show you that. I will give you answer when I will show you the demo. Okay, then circuit breaker. So I'll explain you about that. So what the circuit breakers do. So we have a separate configuration for circuit breaker which we can interact with our Anypoint connector. And if there is any error, so what circuit breaker does is circuit breaker opens up, so that if there is any particular error, so it will not process the message. Okay, for some time, the threshold what we have given, it will not process the message for that time. Okay, then it will do one retry. Okay, that is called half open. So it will try for once. it will check whether the error has been solved or not. If not, again it will stop for some time and it will not process any message. Then again it will try after some time, and then again it will check. Okay, so this is how what the configuration of circuit breaker. We have a on error type, we have a error threshold, and we have a timeout. Okay, so error type is like we need to mention if we need to enable the circuit breaker, so for which particular error we need to do that. If we are not defining anything, so it will work for any type of error we are getting. Error threshold is like how many times for the first time when we are running our API, so how many times uh, the subscriber should send the message to the flow before getting error. That is error threshold. And timeout, like for how much time the circuit breaker should stop the subscriber to send the message to the flow. Okay, this is about that. I will show you that. And the last is about DLQ. So any idea, like anyone over here know what is DLQ? What is the functionality of DLQ? Although you are seeing it on the screen, but I want to know it from you, like who understand about DLQ?
It's about if any messages have failed while being processing, it
Mhm.
will all end up in the dead letter queue.
Perfect, correct. Exactly. That's what the meaning of that letter Q. But I have seen like what people like in some of the projects, what people do is like they create a publish connector in error handling. Okay, and they say that as a dead letter queue, and that is wrong. Okay, a dead letter queue is never, we don't define that in our API. It is a part like in the platform part where we configure that with our parent queue, and automatically that acts. We don't need to forcefully publish the message to a dead letter queue. If you are using a publish connector and you are keeping that into your error handling, that is not a dead letter queue. That can be told as like a normal queue which you have created as an error queue to submit your errors. Okay, so now let us directly go to the demo part so that it will make it more clear. Okay, so this is how my platform looks. Okay, and I have already created some like in Studio, I've created an API with all the functions, and I will show you. So first, let us go to the platform part. So as I said, it is not coming in a trial version. It is an enterprise subscription part. So you will get it if you have enterprise subscription, because it is a licensed product. So when you go to this, you will see an option for for MQ. So this is where you can get your MQs. Okay, and you have got different environments. So like we have got different environments like dev, UAT, and production. So for each environment we need to create the Anypoint MQs and use that. Okay, so here you see the reasons. Okay, so we get different reasons. So reasons is like whatever geographical regions you are in. So you can have a region near to your geographical region. So these are like I can say a data center or a warehouse where your MQs are present. So you need to choose a region near to your location so that you can have the message processing fast. Okay, if the region is more closer to your geographical region, then the process will be more fast. Okay, so this is the page how it looks. Then here is the option where we can see what queue we need to create. I have already created some queue, but I will also create few queues, and I will show you how we create the queues and what all options we get. Okay, this is the client apps. So we need to create this in order to connect our studio connector with this MQ in the platform. Okay, so now if you'll see the configuration for Anypoint MQ. So this is my configuration for Anypoint MQ, where I need to provide a URL, a client API ID, and a secret. And this is I'm providing from my property file. That's why it is looking like this. So this is my property file. I have already configured, but here this is the URL. I am using this particular region, which is Sydney. So I'm using the URL for this, and I have used the same over here. The client app and like the client apps which I have created, I have created this one. This is the client app which I am using. So how you do that is just go over here and give a name for your app. Okay, automatically the app will get created, and you can see the client ID and secret over here. Okay, you can get it from here. Fine. So this is this is what I have encrypted. Okay, I'm following some best practices also, like if we are giving any credentials, so we should also encrypt. So I'm encrypting it. Okay, so this is how I do the configuration. Now, in the palette, by default, you may not see this Anypoint MQ connectors over here. So what you can do, you can simply go to the exchange. Okay, you can connect your Anypoint platform with your studio, as I have done, and you can search for Anypoint over here, or you can type NQs. So you will get that connectors over here from the exchange. Like this is what I have. So you can import that in your studio. So you will start looking to these options. Okay, so we have got different connectors option, that is ACK, consume, NAC, publish, and subscribe. Okay, now how to create queues in the platform. So anyone have any question till now? Am I going fast, or are you getting it what I'm saying? All good?
Abhi, one question Rakesh has. So
Hmm?
he's asking, how can we replay messages from DLQ to source queue? So he want to reprocess the message once the message has reached to
Correct.
DLQ.
So for that, Rakesh, like you need to write some logic, because once it came to your DLQ, then you can create a flow where now your DLQ will be a subscriber. It will be a parent queue. Okay. And then you're sending that message to your another queue, the main queue where you want to send it. Like you are publishing from a subscriber to a publisher. Okay. So there should be a logic for that. I will try to show you that also. Okay, but that is something which you need to do manually. Like it is not like that DLQ will automatically send the message to your parent queue automatically. That will not happen. You need to write a flow for that, or you need to write a logic for that. Okay, so now I have already created few queues. I will create one standard queue and I will show you, okay, how we create it. So this is my queue I am using. Okay, I will name it as EXMQ3. Okay, this is my queue name. This is a standard queue. The options which we get over here is message TTL, default acknowledgement time, then assigned delivery, like delay delivery, encryption, and a option for assigning a dead letter queue. So this I will show you when we'll discuss about dead letter queue. So what message TTL is, this says, like suppose if you have a message in your queue for some time and it is not getting read, okay, then it will store the message in your queue for 7 days, and then after that automatically it will delete. Now you can change it if you want for some hours, or if you want to increase the day, you can do that. Default acknowledgement timeout. So by default, when we use a subscriber, so we have an option for acknowledgement as auto, so we don't need to use the ACK or NAC, and I will show you. So this is about that. By default, it's give you 2 minutes of acknowledgement time. Okay, and that happens automatically from the connector in the studio, from the subscriber, whether the message has been consumed or not. Then delivery delay, like you can put some timing over here. Like now suppose if I'm using a connector, so it will keep on fetching the data from the queue, but you want that it should not keep on fetching. There should be some delay while sending the data to the API. Then you can configure over here. Also there is an option in the connector which I will show you. There also you can delay. Okay, encryption, like this is basically when it is talking to queue. Okay, if you are sending a message to the queue, you can see that it is a readable format. It will not encrypt that, but this is basically for within the queues, which I understand. Okay, so this is, I will create the queue. So once I create the queue, you can see a queue has been created over here. Okay, similarly the same way we create a FIFO queue. You need to go, you need to choose FIFO queue, and you need to provide a name. All other instructions are same. Okay, just make one thing clear. If you're creating a standard queue and if you want to have a DLQ, so your standard like your queue is a standard queue, so your DLQ should be a standard DLQ only. Okay, it cannot be like you have created a standard queue and you want to connect that with a FIFO DLQ. That is not possible. It should be of same type. If you are creating a parent queue as FIFO queue, your DLQ should be also a FIFO queue. Okay, so we have created a queue. Now we'll create an exchange. So someone has asked, like, can we connect both FIFO and standard to our exchange? So I'll show you what we can do. So here is my exchange. I will name it as exchange only. So now see, here you get the option which all queue you need to bind automatic, like already I have created some queues. Okay, so it will show me all the queues name. Okay, so now first let me do this, create this exchange. So while creating the exchange also we can do that, or after creating the exchange we can click on this. So this page will open, okay, where we can see what all queues we are bind or what all queues we need to bind. Okay, and like what type of message you want to send. Okay, these two things you can see for the exchange. Now if we'll see here, there is no option for FIFO, there is no name of FIFO queue. Now see, I have a FIFO queue, okay, and I named it as FIFO MQ, but when I go to exchange I don't see any option to bind my FIFO queue. Getting my point? So my exchange is binding only with standard queues. It is not getting with FIFO queue, which with this particular page describe that. Okay, so we are connecting with the standard queues. Now how to bind with our queues? So I want to bind these three queues with my exchange, so that when I send some message to my exchange, okay, it should go to this three queues. Okay, so I will select this three and I will do bind selected queues. So automatically this queues, they change their position from here to here. It came over here, correct? We can see over here. So now my exchange is binded with this queues. So if I send any message to my exchange, it will go to this queues also. Okay, so now we'll see a demo of like how I sending a message to exchange and how I can get those message in my other queues. So I have created a small flow.
Abhishek, one question.
Yeah.
Like, is there any reason why FIFO queue is not binded? Like,
No, I don't find any like blog or any such thing which mentions. So not very sure why FIFO is not done, but maybe like FIFO accepts in like sequence manner. Okay, and then it should parallelly also process that. So that may be a reason why it is not there, but I don't have any concrete answer why FIFO is not there. Okay, but sequence may be a reason why like it is not having that option for exchange to bind the FIFO queue.
Yeah, and it's an open question. Anyone can help here. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's
if
the
anyone,
reason. Yeah.
correct. If anyone have any proper answer for this and want to share, please share it. Aditya, I will explain you about the difference between subscribe and consumer when I will show you other demo. I will explain that. Okay. So anyone? No? Should we
I think
move
it is
forward?
because of the asynchronous nature. That's why.
See FIFO, like see both FIFO like complete Anypoint MQ is async. So FIFO is also kind of async, I will say. That may be a reason, but yeah, not sure.
Okay.
Because standard queue is also async in nature, correct? But sequence can be one reason why FIFO is not over there. Okay, so let me move with running this API. So I have, what is this? I have a HTTP call over here where from Anypoint platform, I'm going to send the message to my this queue. Okay, this flow, which will go to this publish. Now how I configured, I will show this publish connector now. So what all things you get. So this is the connection config. So I have already created the connection, which is this one where I have given the URL or API ID or secret. Okay, so I need to give that configuration over here. Destination, that is the name of the queue. Now I have given the name as exchange. So this is my exchange name. Okay, so this is my queue name. This is my destination. So I've given that name as exchange. I am simply passing the payload which I am getting from the postman, from the listener. Okay, then this is my configuration for publish. Now subscribe. So as I said, subscriber is the listener of your flow. It is the event source. Okay, it need to be at the listener part. So what all we have over here, similar things. We have got a connection config. Here we know that we want to give the queue name. That is same as the destination what we have given in publish. So we need to give the name of the queue from where we are taking the input. Okay, from where we are getting the input, we need to define that queue name, then subscriber type. So here we have two options. One is prefetch, one is polling. So what prefetch means at a time, like whenever you are going to get a message in your queue, at the same time it will going to process the message to your flows. Okay, it will keep on sending the message to your flows. That is what prefetch means. If I do it poll, so how we do it for scheduler, we can provide some timing, like I want to fetch the data from the queue after in every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes. So I can give that polling over here, and I can give a fetch size means when I run the scheduler once, it should fetch only 10 messages from my queue and store in locally, and that 10 message should only process at that particular time. Okay, so these are the two subscriber type we have for a subscriber. Acknowledgement, as I said, it is auto, so we don't need to define any ACK or NACK over here. If I need to do that, I need to choose manual option. Okay, when I do a manual option, then I will get a token which I need to put in our ACK and NACK, which I will show you. Okay, but ideally we put it auto, like depends upon you how you want to do that. I am putting it auto. Okay, so that automatically if the message is consumed in the flow, it will send an acknowledgement to my queue saying that it has been consumed. You can delete the message. Okay, fine. So now let us run this.
Okay, guys, one question from my side. What is
Yeah.
the difference between auto and immediate? Anyone would like to answer?
Auto will delete the message from the queue once the message is processed completely. Okay, immediately, since the moment the message is picked up from the queue, it will get deleted from the queue.
Yes, that one is right. Amit, are you satisfied with that answer?
Yeah, like in auto, whenever the flow is finished successfully, the message is
Without
like,
any error.
yeah,
Correct.
acknowledgement or a knack, depending on the flow how it went. It is successful, it will give you an acknowledgement. If it is like error is there, it will give you a knack. And in immediate, the message is deleted from the queue immediately. Like,
Once the subscriber or a consumer picks the message
correct.
at the moment.
Yeah. So now I have started my flow. So as I said, see, when I was doing the configuration, there was a default acknowledgement time which was 2 minutes. Okay, default one. Like if you'll go and if you'll see again, let me see default acknowledgement. So this works at the time of auto. So by default, it will wait for 2 minutes whether your API is giving acknowledgement or not. If it doesn't get it within 2 minutes, it will think that is a knack, and it will like ask the message back. Okay, also here also you can define the acknowledgement time. Okay, I am putting it as 0 milliseconds, so it will take from the connector config over the platform. I can define it over here, like from myself, like what I want to give. Okay, that is also possible. So now my API is running. Okay, let me send some data to this, and I will show you in Logger how it is performing. So let me create HTTP localhost 81 MQ exchange. I'll give a body which is JSON. Okay, this is something I'm sending, and I'll send this. Now see, if you see, this is coming from my exchange. This is publishing the message to my exchange. I am not calling this flows. These are my other flows. I am not calling this flow from my HTTP request. I am only, sorry, HTTP listener. I am only pushing the message to the exchange. The same message are coming over here. See, there are 3 subscriber, 1, 2. This is the third one. Okay, all of them are getting the same message. This is the message which I sent to my exchange, and this is the same message which I'm getting. So broadcasting all the same message to all the queues which are on to the subscriber. Sorry, to the exchange. Getting this one? Any doubt on this? like how it worked? Anything? Okay, fine. So this is about exchange and how we bind and how we send parallel message. Now let's see like FIFO and the standard queue. Okay, how, like, what's the difference? So let me put some message in my FIFO queue. So here we get three options. So like how you put a message to a queue manually. So you need to click on the queue. A page will open like this. This will show you the queue settings, which we have seen while creating the queue. This will give you the option like what message you want to send manually. Here we have got three options: JSON, CSV, and text. Anything other than that, any other format which you want to send, automatically that will be treated as a string. Okay, that will be treated as a string. If you read this one, if you read this line, anything which is out of CSV or JSON, that will be treated as a string, as a text, and automatically the size of the message will increase. Okay, and the maximum size of a payload should be 10 MB. And it is about the each message which we are sending, not the message we already have, like the total message we have in the queue, not like that. Each message we are sending, so the size of the payload should be 10 MB. Okay, so now I will put a message again. I will try to put the same message. Okay, so I'll put first message. I will do send. It will message send. So this message is sent to my FIFO queue. I will send another message. Let me check, my API is not running. Okay, it is closed. So the queue will retain the message. The second message I have sent. Now I will send a third message. Message send. I will send a fourth message. Okay, so I send 4 messages to my FIFO MQ. Similarly, I will send same message to my standard queues. Same process. I'll make it JSON. I'll send first message send. I will second message send. Same for third. And same I will do for fourth. Okay. Now I will go back and I will try to retrieve the message from this. Again, in the same page, you have an option called message browser. So what you can do, you can see what all messages are there. Before that, you can see there is an option. Like if I click over here in this empty space, a page like a pop-up comes up here, which is showing me how many messages are there in this my FIFO queue. So in queue means these are the messages which are stored in my queue. Okay, these are the messages which are stored and it is not processing. When I will open my API, when I'll start my API, and when it will try to process the message in the flow, it will come to in-flight. So when it come to in-flight, that means it is trying to process those messages. Okay, so now the message count is less. So it may possible like at a time when I start my API, it will process all the message and you don't see anything in flight. So in that time, the queue is also 0, the in-flight is also 0. But now suppose you have lakhs of message in your queue. So there you can see slowly some of the messages are getting processed. So you will see some message in queue, you will see some message in flight, and as well as like the messages are getting processed, the count of in queue will decrease. Okay, and it will keep on processing the message. Okay, so now I'll go to this queue, I'll go to message processor, and I will get the message. When I do get the message, here it will show me what all messages I have in my queue. Okay, for some time it will show me, and then back it will send the message to the queue. Okay, so I will get the message. Okay, I'll get the message. So see, keep one thing in mind. The way I have sent the message in an order 1, 2, 3, 4, the same way it is showing me the message. Okay, here is the timing. Say 40, 57, 41, 9, 41, 16, 41, 22. It is showing me the message in a sequence the way I have sent it. If I want to send the message back to the queue, I can click over here, or after some time automatically the queue will get the message back and it will not show me anything over here. Okay, so I can click over here, it will go. Now let me show you the standard queue.
Okay, Abhi, one question is there from Hitesh.
Yeah.
on the background where these messages are stored by Mule on the Cloud Hub. Yeah, Hitesh. Yeah, on the
So queue is a messaging tool. It has its own memory, correct?
okay. Yeah.
So it will save that message inside that. It will not like, it is not like object store where no, sorry, it's like we can say a object store where we can store the message for some time. Okay, so it has its own memory where it can store some data. So automatically, like we also provide that functionality where the queue can store some data for some time. We can say it as a like maybe in persistent, we can say it, okay, where it can store the data for some time. Okay, because even though you start like you log out from your platform and you come back, you can see the message still over there. It will not lost until unless it is like the TTL is reached or you are deleting the message. Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks, Santosh, you have already answered for decrypt.
yeah, this question from Hitesh. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, Hitesh. So they have its own memory where it's stored in the background. Okay, it utilize the platform, utilize its own memory for that. Okay, so now about the standard queue, let me see if it is clear. Okay, now if I fetch the data for my standard queue, so see, it is fetching the data one by one. First is fetch 3, 1, 2, now it will bring 4. So it is not in a sequential manner. It is just randomly picking up the data and showing it to you. So that's the difference between FIFO and standard. The FIFO will show you the message in a sequential manner, the way you have put down the message inside that, but standard is not going to do that. It will randomly pick and show you like as soon as it can get the data. Okay, any question?
Just one question.
Mm-hmm.
If we have a lot many messages, like 1 lakh messages as such,
Mm-hmm.
and we want to have parallel processing, so how we can increase the number of consumers for that particular queue?
Parallel processing, no, see, if we are using now, suppose in this example, let's say this is my exmq1 and this is also my exmq1, suppose both are using the same queue, correct?
Yes.
So what will happen, randomly any of the queue will process the message. Okay, randomly it will pick up the message and it will process the message. That is one way you can do. Okay,
Okay.
it is not like both will get the same message. Now suppose q1 has got one message, so q2 like this second one which is having the same queue will have another message. So randomly it will be picked and it will be processed. That option you can use for parallel processing if you want, but it is not like it will be decided like my this particular flow will take the first 10 message or my second flow will take the other 10 message. No, randomly it will pick one message one by one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Abhishek, one question.
Mhm.
So,
Abhishek,
suppose if we are
next,
receiving,
what I am
One by one, please.
yeah, so
Yeah.
suppose if in the queue, right, we
yeah,
have,
Abhishek. So
uh,
what I am treating.
Anyone, please.
Uh,
Who Rahul was asking?
Rahul,
First?
go first. Rahul, please
Yeah,
go
Rahul,
first.
go.
Then
yes,
Chinta, you go.
suppose in the queue, right, we are receiving many messages and we are subscribing to it. So
Mhm.
we can also deploy to the multiple workers, right? So that way also we'll be having two instances of our application,
Mhm.
and that way we can consume more messages as compared to deploying it to one worker, right?
Yes, yes. That also an option we can do for that is like you are making the process fast. Correct. You are making the process fast, but your queue is same. You are getting the message from the same queue, correct? Or are you using the same name, the same queue for three different connectors? Are you using like that? The
No, no,
queue
no.
will
The
be
queue would
one.
be same,
The queue
but
will be one, correct.
yeah, the
So that
inflow of messages will be in the huge count, right? So in order
correct,
to process as many messages as we want to, so we
correct.
can deploy to the multiple workers also, right? So that way the
Yes, yes,
processing
yes.
would be
That is
fast.
possible. Like, see, you can anytime do the scaling how you want to make the process fast. But if you are using a single queue, then the message is coming from that queue only. Although it is async. If you are sending a message to publish, then it doesn't wait like whether the publish is going to return any output or any response to you. Okay. So if you're consuming a message from a subscriber or a consumer, then you can decide the scaling and you can make the process fast. That way it is possible.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Abhishek.
Yeah. Cinda, you're asking a question?
Yeah, sorry, I could not hear Rahul's audio, so I think I was conflicting him.
No. Okay, fine. Tell me.
Okay, so how I'm treating this exchange is like topic bridge to multiple queues, right?
Exactly.
Huh.
So the topic word comes when we are using suppose JMS or like IBM MQ, something like that. There we say it topic, here we say it exchange, but the process is quite same.
Okay, so now
Hmm?
consider like I have a scenario wherein I have to use this exchange as a strategy here, but
Hmm?
the messages should not go for all of the queues. Like I have to use some kind of message selector. How do I do that here?
Then you don't bind your message with that exchange, because if you are binding it, automatically it will go to that queue. That message
No,
will go. Huh?
it's like no, just like how you showed ID one, ID two, ID three, right?
Yeah.
So dynamically, if at all the payload comes with ID one, then
Hmm?
it should go to say like the Q1.
Hmm?
And if the ID two, if the
Hmm?
payload comes with the ID as two, then
Hmm?
it should go to the Q2. Now, for this scenario to come,
Hmm?
if I don't have to use an exchange, then I have to do one by one kind of mapping that
Correct.
but this is all happening dynamically, right? So on the fly, when I get a payload with the ID payload with the ID as one,
Hmm?
I need to like Mule has to understand that okay, based on this selector, I have to go
No,
to the Q1.
see how Mule will understand. Now you have see, in between your exchange and your queue, which you have bind, there is no filters. So Mule will not understand that. Yeah, if you want that logic, so you can put that in your API. You can use a choice router over here. Okay. Now suppose you said, if I'm getting a message in EXMQ1, if the ID is one, then only it should process. Otherwise, it should not process. Correct. So you put a condition over here, a choice router, saying that where you are reading the payload and saying like this is my particular condition. If this condition match, it should go to the when condition. If not, it should go to the default and it should ignore the message. So that is something you need to write the logic. Na?
So
You
that
can you can
means
do you can do in the exchange. Exchange is like connected, bounded to your queues. Whatever you're sending to exchange, it will send to your queues. It will not doing any filters. It can't do that. You need to write that logic in your API then.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So I was talking about FIFO and standard. So that is how the messages are stored in FIFO and standard. But like what I found is like when I was doing the POC, I found like if I enable this, if I start this, then both FIFO, like even though this is a FIFO queue and I have subscribed this, I have used this FIFO queue and I have used this. So both are randomly generating the message. Like I'm not getting it in sequentially. So when we say FIFO or standard, so FIFO store the message sequentially, but it's not like it will process the message sequentially also. Okay. So like I tried that. Okay, and I got like randomly it is also processing the message whatever it is getting in the FIFO queue or standard queue, so it is quite same, but while storing, it stored the message in a sequence. Okay, so anyone want to like have tried this and have any other opinion on that? Shantosh, like any opinion on that? Have you tried, like you might have tried, so what behavior you have seen when you are implementing that in your API? Santosh, you there?
So you're saying it's a first in but not first out, correct? You were saying
Yeah, so
something.
what I observed is like now see, while storing the data in my FIFO queue, it will store it in a sequence. Okay,
Hmm.
but standard will not store it in a sequence. When you are retrieving the data, we have seen like from FIFO we are getting it in a sequence manner, but from standard we are not getting in a sequence manner. But when I have started my application, so in my FIFO the first message I am getting is 3. Okay, so both standard and my FIFO, they are retrieving the data, but here it is retrieving 3 first, then here 2, then it is retrieving like 1, then 4. So it is something similar like what we are subscribing to a standard queue, and randomly we are getting the message from a standard queue. Similarly, we are getting it from FIFO. The same way, randomly we are getting the message from FIFO as well. Okay. While storing, it is in sequence, but while retrieving, it is not in sequence. Randomly, it is giving us the data. Okay. This is what the difference I found. Okay. But while storing, it will store sequentially. That's the difference between standard and FIFO queue.
Abhishek,
Yeah.
consider if the client's requirement is sequencing is all that they require. Consider like first a child work order has to be created, then only the parent work order. Otherwise, the other way will not work, right? So
Correct.
in that case, how can I maintain the sequencing? Bec- Uh, when you say that even if I
Correct.
use
Correct.
FIFO,
Correct.
but the outcome of that FIFO will never be in sequence.
Yes. So that's a good scenario. Need to think about this, because what I found is it is also not sending. Maybe when you are connecting to your queues, okay, uh, it should be when you are getting the message in your queue, at the same time it should process. That can be one condition. Other than that, I don't find it will be a suitable option over here. Like if you want to process it sequentially, then this FIFO queue is going to help us. Okay, because I tried it, and I didn't find, like if I store a message for some time in my FIFO queue and then I try to process it, it also pick it randomly.
So
So
do you
that
think it is due to the prefetch condition or the max local messages, which is
Okay.
fetching the
Okay.
messages from the queue and store it in the local buffer, right? I think
correct.
changing it to the one, right? I think
Okay.
this would,
Yeah, let us try. That's a good
right.
point. Let us try. I haven't thought of that, but let us make it one. Okay, I'll stop this flow and let us check only for FIFO queue how it works. Okay. So that's why I have given mic access, and I want you people to be more interactive, so we can try different options, because we all are here for learning. Okay. So now, so see, there will be no message in this because I have consumed all the messages. Fine. So we'll send some message to this and pick it up. Send first one, second one, third one, fourth one. Now let us go and let us start this and let us check what we get now. See, so here we got the solution. It is fetching now in a sequential order.
Yeah, so basically when
So
we are prefetching it, so the order is being asynchronous, but when we set
correct,
it to one, it is following the order from the queue.
correct, correct. So who answered this? Who was that?
Rahul, I think.
Rahul.
Rahul,
Amazing, Rahul.
thank
Thank
you.
you, Rahul. Yep.
That's what we want to see, how much attention you are giving. Amazing. So you got your answer. Someone asked a question about how to make it sequential.
I think the only problem over here is
Mm-hmm.
since you set the prefetch as one,
Mm-hmm.
so it might have an impact on the performance when you have lot many messages in the queue. Why? Because when you
Correct.
set the prefetch as one, that means it is going to send one at a time.
Correct.
Whereas if it was 30, it would have sent 30 in one go.
It will no, it will not send 30 in one go. Like, see, when I did prefetch and when I started my API, at the same, there was no much difference between it. Okay. The thing is, yes, it store the message in the local, okay, in the local memory, and then it process the message. That is one case. But it is keep on sending the message. The performance may be little low, but if you want it to be in sequential manner, and if you want to like achieve that one, then you need to do something like this. Okay, and I don't think it will give a lot of issue. Okay, maybe if I create a longer API, then we can like longer flow, then we can see how it perform. But the processing is very fast. Correct. And as Rahul said earlier, like we can change the worker size to make it, to make the processing more fast. But if you want to achieve one thing, then we need to let go the other thing in this case. Then
Yeah.
yeah, because
And for
but
Abhishek, even for
yeah.
FIFO queues, right? We know
Mhm.
that only 10 messages can be in the in-flight mode, right?
Mhm.
And but in the normal standard queue, the message limit is more.
More correct
So right. So for FIFO queue, we already have some limitations. So in order
limitations.
to proceed with the sequential order, right?
Mhm.
So that we should be managing with the performance thing. So this
Correct.
way
So
we can achieve the synchronous
yeah,
processing.
that's what I say. Like if we need to get something, then we need to manage somewhere. One or the other way we need to do little bit. Okay. But yeah, this is how the FIFO will execute. It will give you sequentially. You need to change your local message. Okay, or you can like the polling you can change here. You can change the fetch size. That is also possible if you are doing polling. Okay. So this is all about FIFO and standard. We learn about exchange. We got good answers. Okay, amazing. That means like we are having more interactive this one then. So one thing also what you can do is, now suppose I have a message in my queues, okay, and I want to delete that, okay, then you can use this purge option where you can do purge. You can click on this and you can delete message. So whatever messages will be there in your queue, it will get deleted. Okay, so this is what the use of purge message. This delete option is to delete the entire queue if you want. Okay.
Abhishek, I have one question. Like, what
Mhm.
is the maximum limit of messages can be stored in queue, and how many records at a single time can be processed in the in-flight?
See,
Is there any
I
limit?
have seen lack of messages in the Anypoint MQ here. I have seen lots of message, and then it like I don't think it has a uh fixed limit for that, but it can process thousand, or like in flight it can be thousand of messages at a time in flight. But in queue I have seen lots of messages, and when it process thousand of messages at a time.
So in case of standard queue, the limit is 1,20,000. It can be in the in-flight mode. But
Mhm.
when you're using the first in first out queue, right, FIFO queue, so the limit is only 10. So in-flight mode, it
That is
can
for
be
in
only
flight.
10
Yeah.
messages. Yeah.
Correct. Okay.
Thank you, Rahul.
Thanks for adding that. Okay. So now next is about consume. So what's the difference between subscriber and consume is, so you can put your subscribe in the listener part, but your consume will not come in the listener part. It will be in your process flow. Okay. So if there is a case where you wanna manually do that, like as I said earlier, if you have a subflow where you want like when the flow calls your queue, then only you need to send the message. Okay. Then only you retrieve the message. Then at that time you use consume queue. Okay. Now again the configuration for this, here we need to give the queue name, the consume queue name. Here we have little more options. Like for acknowledgement we have the modes. Okay, we have only two modes, immediate or manual. We don't have anything called auto. Then we have a polling time. So what does this mean is, like instead of having scheduler, you can also put a polling time over here. Okay, so if you want like the consumer should work with its own polling time, okay, even though you are putting a scheduler, if you put some polling time, it will fetch the message at that polling time. Okay, but if you want that the scheduler should handle it, okay, not the connector itself, then you need to make it zero manually. Okay, I will show you why I said manually. Okay, first I will show you how the consume work. So I will start this API. So this is already started. Okay, So at present, I don't have any message in my consume. That's why it is giving me null, because there is no message. So we will put one message. So my scheduler timing is every 30 seconds. It is trying to pull the message from the consume every 30 seconds. Now I'll put a message to my consume. This is my consume MQ. I'll send a message. Now when it pull, it give me the data. Okay, it consumed the data. Okay, you can see the output. Okay, now suppose what if I don't put the hold time as 0 manually, what will happen? I will show you. I'll pull this. Okay, all the configuration will be same. Okay, this is my consume queue. I'll put it. I'm not putting any data over here, it is blank. I'll delete this. Okay, and I'll start this. So at present I don't have any message in my consume queue. Okay, there is no message. Okay, now see, I got an error. Didn't receive any message during polling interval of this. So when I don't put any value in the consume over here, okay, when I don't put any value, by default it take it as 10,000 milliseconds. Okay, that is 10 seconds. Automatically it take that value. Okay, and it give you error saying that there is no data. See, I got the error. In order to manage that, I am manually putting it as 0. Okay, so that if there is no message in my consume, I should not get any error. It should give me, okay, there is no message, so the consume is none. Okay, otherwise by default it will take it as 10,000 milliseconds. Okay, that's the property of this consume. By default it is taking it if we are not providing any data. So to avoid that error message, we need to make it as 0. Okay, so this is what the consume do, and the difference between subscriber and consumer is subscriber is your event source. Okay, you don't need to like put a scheduler and then a subscriber. It is an event source. Your API start with the subscriber, but a consume can be placed anywhere in your message processor. It won't be your event source. It can be in subflow, it can be in private flow, it can be in main flow, but in processing part, not in a listener part. Okay, that's the difference between subscriber and consumer. Okay, any question on this?
Guys, any question till now? Anything you want him to repeat, or feel free to ask. Yeah, it's your time.
Okay, now we'll go to circuit breaker. Okay, so I will show you the configuration for circuit breaker and how we configure it in our subscriber. Okay, I'll show you that. Now
Abhi, do you want to cover DLQ first a bit?
first I will go with circuit breaker, then
sure.
I'll cover
Sure.
DLQ at the last. That will be our last point. So we have only 2 points left, circuit breaker and DLQ.
Okay,
So
sure.
I will cover it.
Okay.
So this is how the circuit breaker configuration looks, which I have shown you in the PPT. Error threshold, I am giving it 2, so that if I am getting any error, it will first try for 2 times before getting the error. Okay, it will try for 2 times. Now suppose it got an error. Okay, the circuit will open. That means the trip timeout. It will wait for 30 seconds. Then it will half open. Like it will send the message once and it will try it for once, checking that the API is fixed or not. Okay. If it is not fixed, again it will go for a hold on 30 seconds. Again it will try one more time. Okay. this is how it will work. So I will go, okay. So how we do the configuration in subscribers, I have created the global config. So here in the advanced part, you will see there is a circuit breaker option. So either you can do it inline here itself in the subscriber connector also you can do, or you can do it globally the way I have done. Okay, you define it globally and then you attach it over here. Okay, so here the circuit breaker is attached with your subscriber. Okay, now I will start this. Okay, I have given a requester which is pointing to nowhere. I have just given a path, but this path doesn't exist. So that we'll get an error over here. So I will run it in debug mode. And meanwhile, I'll put some message to my circuit breaker queue. I'll give this message. This is my queue. Yes. Okay. First try, it got an error. Second try, it got an error. So you got the error 2 times. Now the circuit breaker opens. Now it will wait. Okay, it will wait for 30 seconds and it will try it for once. Now if I'll go and see, okay, it has sent the message back to your queue. Now it will try one more time after 30 seconds. So let's wait for 30 seconds and see. See. So now your circuit breaker is half open. It will try it for 1 time. It will not try it for 2 times. Okay, again it will wait for 30 seconds. So this is what the first time it tried for 2 times. The threshold I have given 2. So it continuously tried for 2 times. It got an error. Circuit breaker open. Okay, then it waited for 30 seconds. Okay, then it tried for 1 time. That is half open. So it is checking whether the issue is resolved or not. Okay, it is waiting. So now it will wait for some time. Then again after 30 seconds, it will send. Now see, again it's sent. Okay, now again it will check. Again it is half open because it is again getting that error. Okay, still getting that error. So this is how your circuit breaker works. This is what the meaning of open and half open and closed. Initially when it started, it was closed. Then I have given a threshold of 2. First time it got an error, it tried for second time also it got an error, the circuit breaker opens. Okay, then after 30 seconds it tried for once, that is half open, checking whether the issue has been resolved or not. Okay, we got the issue again, it went back, it waited for 30 seconds, again it tried for once, that is half open again. So this is how your circuit breaker works. Okay, moreover, what you can do, I have not given any error type over here. That's why whatever error I will get, it will work on that. But if I specify any error like HTTP connectivity or HTTP timeout, anything like that, it will work on that error only. The circuit breaker will work for those errors. If I need to give multiple errors over here, then I need to do it comma separated. So like it will be like HTTP timeout, comma, HTTP not found, like this. It will work on that. So if I'm not defining, so whatever error I'm getting, it will work on that. So this is how your circuit breaker work. Okay.
Abhishek,
Huh?
how can we exit from this multiple retries?
So see, in that case, you need to define a particular error handling, like I want it for HTTP connectivity only, or I want it for HTTP timeout only. So if it is HTTP connectivity, then your issue need to be resolved. Okay, otherwise it will be open and it will keep on trying that one.
Okay, consider
Hmm?
the target system which we are trying to connect, right?
Hmm?
So there is some downtime, and
Hmm?
they told that downtime is like one whole day, 24 hours.
Hmm?
So I don't want my application to keep on trying for every 30 seconds. Now, for example, in this scenario, 30
Correct, correct,
seconds. I don't want. I want to exit it because it is not going to happen any sooner.
correct.
How can I exit?
Yeah. So one way is like then see, you cannot go and you cannot move like do the changes in the API because it will be a rebuild type of things. So what you can do is either you can remove the message from your queue. That can be one option. Like you take the message in some other queues, or there can be an option for that data queue as well. Okay, I will show you that part. But in that case, like there is a few limitations again which I'll show you. Okay, but again that is something you need to manage. Like if there is a downtime and there will be a connectivity issue, then yes, there is a serious problem then, because your subscriber will keep on trying that until it get that resolved, because you have set it for that one. Correct.
Correct, correct.
Yeah, because it is trying a retry kind of thing. Again and again it is trying that part. Okay, so there again you can think of some logic. Okay, removing the message from the queue or keeping it somewhere so that it doesn't retry. Okay, your message doesn't go to your in-flight again and again.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, okay, we have ACTEC also, so let me talk about this, then we'll talk about DLQ. Okay, so this is my ACK. I'm sending a message to this now. Okay, first we'll try with ACK. Okay, I will execute my process again. So I have one message in my ACK MQ now, which is this. Here my configuration is I did it manual. Okay, I did it manual. I've not defined any time over here. Okay, I need to post this message. Let me do this. So, uh, yeah. Okay. So my message went to my ACK part. Let me send the message again. Okay, as soon as I have given the message, it has been acknowledged by my ACK because it has been processed. Now, if I'll go and I see, I will not find any message over here. It is processed. Okay. Similarly, if I do it for NAC, as I have an error over there, I'll send my message. I got an error. It gave a negative acknowledgement. If I'll go and see my NAC, see it's an in-flight. So it is trying to reprocess that. So the message is not lost. It sent the message back to my queue to process it again. So it is in my in-flight. Okay, it is trying to process that again. Okay, so this is what, like manually we can define the ACK and NAC. Okay, this is what manually we define. See, again and again it is getting NAC, so it is trying to process that message. Okay, again if you want to like not no, if you don't want to try it for some time, then again you can write some logic where you will define like I want to retry it for this particular time. Okay, and then after that I don't want to retry, it should stop. Okay, because now again the same case for circuit breaker what we have talk about. If we have any downtime or something and the connectivity is not coming, so I'm going to get the error again and again. It is going to give me NAC. Okay, so it is going to process the message again to and for. Okay, so this is how the ACK and NAC works. Now in this, as I said, we need to provide a attribute token. We need to provide this like reference over here, which you will get only when you have done this as manual. Okay, when you have done the acknowledge mode as manual, then only you will get this attribute dot act token. If you do it immediate or auto, this attribute is not getting generated from this subscriber connector. It is not going to generate. It generates only when you do it manual, then only it's generated. Okay, now the last part we have is DLQ. Okay, now we'll see the use of DLQ. Okay, before that we'll see the configuration. So for DLQ, we don't need to configure anything inside our flow. It is purely based on the platform. Okay, so I have a queue which is named as demo MQ. Okay, so your DLQ is also similar to your standard queue. It is not like you have a separate queue type. It is same, a normal configuration. Okay, just I named it as demo DLQ. Okay, how you will attach to your parent API is, this is my parent API demo MQ. Here I get the option for dead letter queue. So once I can make other queue also as a dead letter queue. I can create any queue as a dead letter queue, but that should be of same type. If it is a standard MQ, other should also be a standard MQ. It works on same type. Okay, so I have created a separate queue name, that is demo DLQ, and I have given a retry attempt. So what I told, like, it should try only for 2 times, as I have given for circuit breaker, like the threshold is 2. It should try for 2 times. If like until the error is coming, then it should stop, and then it goes for half open or open. Here it will try for 2 times. Okay, it will check for 2 times whether the error is coming or not. For after 2 times also, if the error is coming, automatically the message will come to our DLQ. Okay, automatically it will come over here. So at present I have no message over here. Okay, so I will start my flow. I'll start my flow and I will send a message to my parent MQ. I will share a message over here, which is this, and I will send. Okay, I got the error. I still have. Let me send the message to my demo one more time. I have no message. I will send another message. I will send. I'll come to my API. First time I'm getting the error. I did a first retry, second retry. We have given the delivery time as 2. So it tried 2 times. Now we are not getting any message. So now if you go and see our demo MQ, we will not find any message. But if we'll go to our DLQ, there will be message. It is 2 because first also we tried once. Okay, and I tried again. So I can see ID1 and ID2 both. Okay, so here how my DLQ has got the message. Okay, so it tried for 2 times because I have given the threshold as 2. After 2 times also there was issue, so automatically the message went to my DLQ. I have not defined any publish in my error. I have not defined anything. Okay, so this is how the DLQ works. Okay, this is the concept of DLQ. Automatically they take the message when it is a error. Okay, we don't need to go to our palette. We don't need to put a publish over here and then put a queue name. Okay, that is not the concept of dead letter queue. That is like you are creating this particular queue as an error queue. Okay, that is what you are doing. That is not dead letter queue. That letter is like automatically it should work. It is attached to its parent queue and automatically it works. Okay, now can anyone tell me, like, I have used on error propagate and I can see like my message is going back to my DLQ. What happen if I put it as on error continuous? Will it go to my DLQ? Can anyone answer that? Anyone? Yeah, Rahul, you want to say?
I
No,
think it
I
will
think it
not.
won't go.
It won't go.
It won't go to Anypoint
DLQ.
DLQ.
DLQ. Why? Can you
Yeah.
give a reason?
Yeah, because when we are using the on error continue, so
Mhm.
it won't be sending the error to the listener, right? To the
Correct.
subscriber, and it
Correct.
will be considering this as a success response. So that's why it won't be going to DLQ.
Correct. That's why. Because if I use on air continuous, it fails. It comes here. It will give 200. It is not giving a negative acknowledgement saying that okay, this is not processed. Correct. And then in that case, it will go to my DLQ. And I give you a condition of NAC. So here we are doing it manually. So if I want to stop it, like if I don't want it to keep on processing, I can use DLQ over here. That's the solution. We can use DLQ. We can say the processing time it should be 2 times. Still, if I am getting a negative acknowledgement, it should put it in a DLQ, because this is also doing the same work. Correct. Here I have the acknowledgement mode as auto. That's why automatically it is sensing it is a negative or positive feedback. But here I am doing it manually, so I can handle that using a dead letter queue, so that it should not keep on pinching my API with that message. Okay, got it clear? Now, what happen if I use a dead letter queue with my circuit breaker, which is this one? Okay, if I use that, now coming to the answer, which like someone asked, like how to resolve it if I am using a circuit breaker and there is a downtime and automatically again and again it is coming. Okay, so here also you can use the dead letter queue. Okay, you can use the dead letter queue here also, but there is one limitation. Okay, now can anyone tell me, suppose my threshold for my circuit breaker is 2 and the threshold for my dead letter queue is also 2. Okay, both are 2. So what will happen in that case, like whether it will go to the dead letter queue or it will not go? Can anyone answer that, please? Suppose, if I will repeat, now suppose this is my circuit breaker. I have given an error threshold of 2. So initially when my flow will start, it will try for 2 times if it gets any error. Okay, initially. I have also attached a dead letter queue to my circuit breaker queue, which I have used. And its threshold is also 2. So how should I handle, like what will happen? Will it go to the dead letter queue or it will not go to the dead letter queue if I get the error? Because after trying 2 times, my circuit breaker will open and the threshold automatically becomes 1 because it is half open. That time it will be half open. So what will be the output for the first time when I am starting my API? I am getting any error. Okay, and I also have a dead letter queue. Anyone please want to try what will the output? Guys, no one?
The message will go to the DLQ, right?
Okay, for the first time when it try for the 2 time, even though I have a circuit breaker, still it will go to the DLQ. You're saying that? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else wanna try? What will happen? Like I have a threshold of 2 for my circuit breaker, but I have also attached my dead letter queue to this where my threshold is 2. The threshold are same. Okay, so will it come to my dead letter queue, or the circuit breaker will keep on retrying because the threshold will become 1 after the 2 retries?
I think it will go to dead letter queue
Okay,
after
let's
the two trials in the circuit breaker.
okay, let's see. So my API is running. I will give a message to my circuit breaker one. Here I send the message. Yes, first one, second one. Now the circuit breaker opens. Let's wait for a few seconds and see, like there is a timing of 30 seconds. Let's see. No, let's see, is there any message in my circuit breaker? There is no message because it went to my DLQ. Okay, and before sending, I have deleted all the messages. So this is the message which I am getting from my new one, the circuit breaker one, because the threshold are same. But now, if I send a message, my circuit breaker is open. Now, suppose if I send a message, okay, it tried. Now it tried it for once because my circuit breaker is open, and now it is half open when it tried it for the first time. So if I'll go and if I see, okay, it's still there. Okay, let's wait for a few seconds and see whether it tries. See, not coming. So this is also one way you can handle this. Okay, let's see. Let me go to my red letter queue and see how many messages. See, I got 2 messages. Can you see? Because the dead letter queue is attached. The same message what was there in my circuit breaker. So someone asked like how to handle it. So this is how we can handle it. If you have any downtime or something, we can attach a dead letter queue, and the messages will come to my dead letter queue instead of it keep on pinging. Like if we are getting new messages, it will try. It will half open, so it will try for some time, at least once. Still, it will send it to the dead letter queue because it is getting the error. But your message will not be lost. Okay, my threshold for that letter key was 2. So first time it worked. It tried 2 times. My circuit breaker threshold was also 2. It tried for 2 times. It sent to the dead letter queue. Next time the circuit breaker is half open, so the retry was 1. Still it sends there is an error we cannot process, so it send it to the dead letter queue automatically.
How do we find out the reason why those messages ended up in the dead letter queue? Like, for example, it could be one possibility that messages expired and therefore it ended up in the dead letter queue, or
Mhm.
it could be your JSON, the incoming request was not correct, and therefore while processing it has errored and it ended up in the dead letter queue. So, if I have a requirement
No,
where
no, no, no. There, like this information you don't get over here. Like why it failed. The reason you don't get. If see when you say about expire, now suppose your parent queue is not getting consumed, like your API is not working, it is stopped. So the message will be there in the queue only, correct? When you say expired, it will be in that queue only. It will not process. When it come to dead letter queue, only if there is any error, then only it will come to the dead letter queue.
so we
Correct.
cannot set any expiry to the message,
Expiry means how you want to say, like
like
I
time
didn't
to
got
live
you.
TTL, time to
We
live.
have a TTL, na? We
Yeah.
have a
So
TTL.
Okay, so let's say if the TTL is set to 5 minutes, right?
Okay.
That means my understanding is that it will stay on the queue for 5 minutes. After five
Okay.
minutes, it
Mm-hmm.
will go to the dead letter queue.
No, see, dead letter queue is mostly for error. Okay, now suppose, let me try. Like you are saying, what minute I can keep. Now suppose I say 1 minute. Okay, I'll keep the message for 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let us try and see whether what happens to this. Before that, I'll try to delete. Now, see, what is the concept of dead letter queue is when you get a error. Correct. See, what is the concept of dead letter queue is when you get some error, then your message should not be lost. Undelivered message, it should not be lost. Now, if you are not consuming, that means it is not working. Your API is not working. The message is simply over there. It is just staying over there. Okay. So in that case, let us see. I have I have kept this message. Okay. It is 2 5. Let's go back. Let's wait for 1 minute and see whether
Okay.
it lost or not. My API is not working. It will show you again 0101 because it is trying to find and trying to process that. Meanwhile, if anyone have any question till we are trying this, anyone have any other
Yeah,
question?
we have got a question for Aditya. What is the meaning of threshold in DLQ?
Threshold means number of retrying. Like in until successful, we give a time. No? Like in this time, we need to try this many times. So that threshold means I need to try it for 2 times or 10 times until I am getting an error. Until the error is not fixed, I should keep on trying, sending the message to the flow. Okay, I will try it for 2 times. Still, if I am getting any error, it should come to my DLQ. I should not keep on like I should not keep create an endless loop of trying it again and again. I don't want it like that.
Yeah, we have one question from my side.
Hmm.
Like if we have circuit breaker configuration 2 and DLQ, the threshold is 4.
Hmm.
So it can it be different from circuit breaker? Let's say circuit breaker has a count of 2, but in DLQ I put 4.
Correct.
So will it ever come to DLQ or how it will be?
We'll check that. That is also one point. Good point. We'll check that. So, in that case, let's see. But I don't think it will come to DLQ in the first time because the threshold is different. But we'll see. Okay. Now see. Uh, my circuit breaker. I don't have any message now. It is showing me 0. Let us try to fetch and see whether because my TTL was 1 minute. It's taking so much time. That means there is no message. Okay. Otherwise, it has shown now. So we have an expiration. We have a TTL. The message is lost. When DLQ will work when it gets a negative acknowledgement saying we cannot process it. There is an error. But when we set a TTL, that means you are not utilizing that message. Okay. That's why it will not come to your DLQ.
Okay, you mean say it is lost.
It is lost because you have kept that TTL type, correct? Like
Okay.
I will utilize this message in suppose 7 days, and after that it should expire. Okay.
Okay.
Here we have a question, Abhishek, from Tesla. Is circuit breaker threshold dependent on DLQ threshold?
No, they are independent.
Yeah.
I have added a DLQ with that to show you like what happens if we have this condition. What would be the solution for that? But they are not dependent. They are independent thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we are checking like if we have a greater threshold for DLQ, how it works, correct?
Yes. Now, as Amit asked me, okay, so we'll try that also. It's better to try instead of me telling you because I tried it. Okay. So now my circuit breaker is 2. Let me go to my circuit breaker and change it to 4. Okay. Now it wants like it should try for 4, like the threshold for my DLQ should be 4. Okay, no message in my DLQ, no message here. I'll start it in debug mode so that we can see, okay, we are getting errors. I'll put one message. Actually, Amit, I was going to put this message to everyone. What happens like if my threshold is 2 and my DLQ is 3?
Okay.
But you yourself asked me that question. So anyone want to say like meanwhile we are trying, what will happen?
Yeah, you can put your response in the chat. Let's try that.
First time, second time, 2 times done. My circuit breaker opens. Let's check. I have a message in my I got the message. Okay, now I'll try one more. Oh, sorry, I'm sending. Circuit breaker is half open. So the Trishala's question was, what circuit breaker is dependent on the threshold of DLQ, correct? Is circuit breaker threshold dependent? Yeah, this was your question, and I said no. Circuit breaker threshold is not dependent on DLQ. Okay, so can anyone tell me what is happening over here? Now my threshold for my circuit breaker is 2, okay, and my DLQ is 1. Oh, sorry, my DLQ is 4 and my circuit breaker is 2. So for the first time when I send the message, it went to my DLQ. This is the second message which I sent. Okay, in DLQ I have one message which is the first occurrence, but now it is trying to process. Let's wait for the message to come. I think something broke because I fetched the message in between.
Yeah, me. One question is there. I don't think we have a default DLQ, correct?
No, default queue. See, we don't have a separate DLQ kind of stuff. The normal queue is something which we create as a DLQ. Okay.
Yeah, but we
Yeah.
don't have anything like default DLQ, correct?
No. We
Yeah.
don't have anything like that.
We need to set it to the parent queue or FIFO queue.
Yeah. Okay, the message is not going back. Okay, let me put it again.
Okay, guys, do you have any other question? You can use your mic and ask the question. And
Let's wait for 30 seconds and see what happens now.
just checking the time. We are right on time for our quiz. Avi.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's long.
Okay, tried one more time. Again, error circuit breaker. Came to queue, but not coming to DLQ. So see, what happens when my DLQ threshold is more. Okay, so this is the second time it came to my circuit breaker. For the first time at the initially, it tried 2 times, and then it sent the message to my DLQ. So the threshold, although the threshold of DLQ was more than the circuit breaker one, but circuit breaker threshold override that time. Okay, and the message went to the DLQ. Now I have sent second message where my circuit breaker is open. Okay, so it already tried for 2 times. Okay, now the message is not coming to my DLQ, nor it is coming to my circuit breaker. Okay, so there it lost the message. Okay, it follows some ambiguity regarding both the DLQ and the threshold timing, the circuit breaker, and the message lost. So if we put the DLQ greater than the threshold, like the circuit breaker threshold, we'll lose our message over there. The first message will come, but after that, it will try the second one for few times, and then it will lost. So I don't see any message in my circuit breaker. Okay, nor the message is coming to my DLQ. Still, it is 1.
Yeah, it makes sense, Avi.
So this happens when the DLQ is attached, because you are giving more time to the DLQ. So the DLQ process is not getting fulfilled. Okay, for the first time itself. Okay, but for the first time it overrides the DLQ threshold and it sends the message. But after that it don't try, because the threshold of DLQ is very high as compared to the circuit breaker. So we are losing the message. The message is lost. Okay, so this is all about MQs, DLQs. So Amit, all yours. Like if anyone have any question, if anyone want me to try something, please let me know. We'll try.
Yeah, guys, like before we move to trivia quiz, any question from anyone? Okay, so if anyone has, they can ask the question later. They can reach to Abhi over LinkedIn, or they can put in the forum, and we'll definitely try to help them. So yeah, I think Abhi, what I will do next, I will stop the recording. I don't want to record the quizzes and all, and we can continue with the quiz. Correct?
Sure.
Yeah, so I'm stopping the recording as of now, and yeah, like, so your team will try Kahoot. I hope